This statement that water has a memory, of course, that practically changes our whole way of looking at the world.
Researchers around the world have been persistently trying to get water to reveal its secrets. Often it takes an accident to lead to a surprising result. Those who thought they knew everything about water have had to admit how little they really knew about this element. The internal structure of water molecules remains a mystery. Science attempts to penetrate the interior of the molecules, to study them, and to get a systematic picture of them. But even the most modern computers have their limits. But what kind of information is this? Can we make it visible, or even measure it? In order for experimental results to be considered valid, they have to be repeatable. But how can we look inside a drop of water?
The Aerospace Institute in Stuttgart has discovered a relatively simple way of making the structure of a drop of water visible. The drops are placed on a sheet of glass and allowed to dry. Under the microscope, they reveal fascinating images that can be photographed with a special camera. The researchers have had their efforts rewarded by insights into a very beautiful world. Each drop has a face of its own, unmistakable and unique. Why are the individual drops so different from one another? What do the photographs tell us? Who can interpret them? What information is stored in them, and where did it come from? Perhaps from humankind itself? Here we have person A who does something, and person B who does something, and person C who does something. They've all placed drops on a slide. They were from the same water, and now they've all dried. And each of these three drops looks different. We didn't change anything ourselves, and yet we get three different images. Thus, the differences must come from the three persons. And that, of course, made us want to find out how it could be possible, or better yet, whether it could be possible. So we got a lot of people to come to a lecture hall here at the Institute, gave them all the same water, had them make drops at exactly the same time, collected all the drops, and then discovered that each individual produced different images from the same water. And here you can see the results. Here on the right you can see that the images of the individual students are different, but those made by a given student are all quite similar. This is the work of the first experimenter, this one here from the second, this from the third, and this from the fourth. Individually they can quite easily be reproduced, but you would never have thought that they were all from the same water, because when you compare the images from the different people, you see some big differences. So it must be the case that information from the experimenter, who was holding the syringe in his hand but never touched the water, must have been transferred to the water and was captured in this image.
Often water has flowed a long way from the mountain to the valley. There is an old proverb that says, "Water is not clean until it has flowed over a stone 7 times." There has been practically no research into the question of the importance to water of motion. What does the water pick up along its way, from the air and from its surroundings? Does it bring information with it from inside the earth? Has it absorbed oscillations from minerals and ores? If so, can human beings retrieve it at the mouth of the stream? What we know is a drop. What we don't know is an ocean. Isaac Newton. One thing is certain, its beauty is a great pleasure to behold.